Hey guys, welcome to the show. This is Scott from IT Rockstars. This is the channel where we help grow your IT business using webinars. On today, we're doing a vendor demo. I haven't done one of these in a little while, and I thought I'm going to do one. And the reason I'm going to do one is because Steve, who you can see here on the screen, he's on the same platform as me for his community. He's on school.com. So I kind of wanted to find out more about Steve and his team and what his product is and his history and just figure things out with him. And I thought, Steve, I'll just take you and do a demo because I used to do these demos all the time and the audience here really like them. So Steve Haviland, hopefully I've got that right, from BTSG. You've got a tool called Squeak Network Scanner. What does it do?
In essence, it helps MSPs to prospect and find new clients, and then to show value and present in a non-technical way to their prospects so that they can win business.
So this is like a sales tool.
Yeah, it's a pre-sales and sales tool. That's exactly what it is.
This is cool because, as I mentioned, I do webinars. And one of the big things that I help IT businesses with in their webinars is, okay, what are you actually going to sell in the webinar? You can't sell a managed service contract. There needs to almost be like a next step after the webinar. And we've had on vendors in the past. So the last vendor that I had on that has like a sales tool is a product called the Cyber Score. So it's taking very much that security angle with the Cyber Score. There's also an AI maturity assessment tool in my community at school.com/MSP. And this, it sounds to me as though it sounds as though there's maybe stuff like this already in the market. Would I be right in saying that?
We're pretty early in the market, and we're called Pipsqueak because whenever I started going down this road of software as a service as a MSP, you look out at all the big vendors like Big K or ConnectWise or Pick Your Poison, right? Yeah. They're all like giant companies, and I'm like this little 10-person shop, right? So it felt like a little Pipsqueak, and so that's why we picked the name.
I love the name, but the question is, there products like what you've got already out there on the market?
Oh, absolutely. I think that there are. I think that they're not as cost effective a lot of times, which is one of the reasons I went down the road that I did. And I also think that they lack capability. As an MSP owner myself, I've run an MSP for 17 years. And as an MSP owner, I can tell you that you buy a tool, right? And you want to do all these cool things with the tool. And inevitably, you're like, okay, I'm going to do a QBR with this tool, this reporting tool that I've got.
Yeah.
Oh, but wait, there's an upsell for the QBR package, and that's another $500 a month, or it can't do that yet, but it's coming soon, I promise you. So no, I think that there are similar tools. They may not be as full featured, or they may they may have a revenue block or something like that there, like a paywall or something.
Yeah, because what comes to mind, I've had the other vendor that I've had on the channel before. This is going back 5 or 6 years ago. I don't even know if they're still in the MSP market. They probably are. It was Ovid Networks. And that sounds like it almost sounds as though that would potentially be a competitor. The reason I'm asking the question is really to get to the point of like, why did you build this tool in the first place?
I built it for my MSP. We used rapid fire tools before it was like bought by Kaseya.
Yep.
And everyone's familiar with rapid fire and what they do. And that was really an expensive proposition because as an MSP, you're going to get a network assessment and you might get 1 or 2 of those a month. While it's true, like 1 deal a month would cover the cost of that tool, it's still a really expensive proposition, right? And especially the more assessments that you do because of the way that they bill. There are other tools that are out there as well. Half a dozen of them come to mind. The point is that, yes, there are absolutely things out there. They either didn't do what I wanted them to do as an MSP to solve the problem in my business, or they did them in a way that I just really wasn't super excited about, or they charged too much. So, I thought there was an opportunity.
Yeah, that's cool. And what's the problem that it solves in your business?
So for us, we deal with a lot of nonprofits in our MSP business.
Uh-huh.
And sometimes some manufacturers too. And by and large, those guys they're really good at what they do, community outreach or healthcare or some sort of a manufacturing process. But they don't want to speak technical jargon to you at all. Like they're
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
wanting to have that discussion about IP address management or firewalls or whatever, right? They don't want to have those conversations. So how do you have the cybersecurity conversation or the risk conversation with someone, right? How do you have that with that type of conversation and drive home the need for managed IT services or adjacent products? And they really don't want to hear the message. They want to hear it in the way they want to consume it, not the way
Okay.
you as an MSP want to
Yeah.
deliver it. And that's, I think, one of the major things that Pipsqueak really has helped us with is we can now build reporting. It's pretty much automated. It communicates risk, whether that's business risk or security risk or whatever type of risk you're talking about, in a way that is really easy for people to understand.
Excellent.
So it communicates that risk very simply.
All right. Scenario for you, and maybe this is before we break into the demo. This is what I do for MSPs. I run webinars, and one of the things that I love about webinars is I can get the 20 or 30 business owners to turn up for half an hour, and we can go into an in-depth discussion on a particular topic. One of the things when I'm working with IT businesses, I always ask when we start working together, because we usually run ad spend, is okay, who do you want to come to the webinar? And 9 times out of 10, it's usually, just any business owner, anyone that needs IT support. But what you've already told me is that you're looking for or you deal mainly with nonprofits, some
A lot of our
manufacturing.
business is nonprofits for our MSP. Yeah.
So if I was running a webinar for you, I was running the ads, and we got, say, for example, we had 20 nonprofits turn up to the webinar. Okay. And it's the decision makers, it's the office managers, or it's maybe some of that C-suite. You do get them in nonprofits as well. We break out the demo. Can we do it there in the webinar?
You can do attack surface stuff really easy in the webinar. We have what we call an attack surface lead magnet. You can do that phenomenally easy right there in the webinar.
Okay.
Customer facing. And that's a really easy, low-hanging thing to do to start the process, just to start the conversation with them and have a next step. Like what comes after next? That's what I always ask, right? It's like whenever I'm in a sales process, whether it be a webinar or a live event, I always start with, okay, I'm going to talk to some people, right? What happens after next? What happens after I talk to those people? And you have to have something to carry you from the current conversation over to the next thing, right? To the next step in the sales process. I think the attack surface lead magnet is something that someone can do that's very powerful to just immediately show value. And then that gives your salesperson, or if you're an owner-led sales team, it gives you as the owner something to say, okay, what's going to happen next is this. I'm going to talk to them about doing a deeper scan or have this next conversation. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. And then I mentioned before we jumped on here and hit record that, I maybe mentioned it to your colleague that, well, I love to ask really dumb questions. So we're in the webinar and there's the attack surface scanner. Are we just basically taking like the domain names from the webinar registrants? We're asking them in the webinar, give me one of your domain names. Is it an external IP? What do we need to actually run that?
It's simple as a domain name. It's simple as a domain.
So that starts the conversation. And this worked really well, webinars, because it kind of helps drive that engagement. So then the second step is, okay, can we do this on my domain right now?
Yes, absolutely we could. And actually, I've already done it I just picked a random, but I can share that with you.
Do it live and just give me a red face.
Let's see.
What's Scott been doing? So I've got 2 domains. I've got itrockstars.net, which hosts my website, and then I've got .co.uk for the email.
Give me just 1 second, and I'm going to get into. You caught me kind of a little bit flat-footed there, but I am ready. Okay,
That's
what
cool.
was that?
We can
What was
edit
that
this.
domain name?
itrockstars.net. So that's for my website.
Let's see. Give me just a second, and
Yeah, and then I'll put this in the chat. And then there's itrockstars.co.uk, which is like where all my email stuff is. MX Records, that type of thing.
what I can do is I will start by sharing my screen. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's cool. That's what I want to see, because this is the bit the audience love, is like they want to see the tool.
First of all, I will go over. Let's see here. Where should I go? Right here. Okay. First of all, to maybe understand our tool a little bit, we've got this panel. This is inside of our Pro edition of our tool. We do have a community edition that's 100% free.
I saw that. Yeah.
You can use this tool 100% for free. But concept behind the external risk scan is that we've got this lead magnet over here. But we have really 3 modes. The first mode is that we can do a real-time scan right here. And we select what organization that we've already provisioned in the tool. We put in the domain name, we go.
Okay.
The second, and so these are the scan modules that we'll look at. We'll look at any breach intelligence, any DNS, any email security or SSL TLS problems, security headers on their website, any infrastructure stuff that we can see, or any type of squatting, potential breach or attacking problems around type of squatting. So you can select 1 or 2 of those things, or you could select all of them. In this case, we'll just select all of them. The other thing that you can do here, which I just really like, is that you can come in here and you can generate a scan link for a specific domain. So in this case, if I'd had your organization provisioned here, I could select an organization, a drop down. I enter a domain. Again, I select the modules and I generate a link, and I can email that link to a client. And so if I'm having these soft conversations with a client and I'm like, hey, I can send you a scan link and you can see what the risk is for this potential thing, that's like a mini buy that helps them to say yes. And then finally, we've got this concept of an attack surface lead magnet that you can put on your website, and you can control layout and form and display and your advanced colors, how things are laid out, etc.
Okay, so you embed this on your own website. So the generate the scan link, that's almost like a micro commitment that you get the prospect to make.
Absolutely.
Okay.
How that looks like, this is our BTSG website, and that how it would look like right here is check your company's cyber score, check your company's, you could say, attack surface, or whatever the language is that you wanted to use. And they type in their URL and they hit start. What they're going to see, and I think it's important to show what the customer would experience.
Yeah.
Let's see here. So they're going to see this type of thing pop up. Right. Here's itrockstars.net. 10 out of 100.
Yeah.
For your score.
Yeah. Have my checkbook. Fix this.
Believe it or not, I have seen worse. But
why is this so bad?
But we're looking across 7 categories, and we're looking across some findings. We've got a couple of critical issues. We've got a security grade here. And your customer's going to see this. They're running the scan on your website, and it's going to process and it's going to pop this up, right? But the interesting thing is, as they scroll down, we're gonna ask them for some information to unlock the full report. And the reason we do that is because we want to collect that information. This could be a customer that you've never even heard of before, a prospect you don't know anything about, or it could be someone that you've had that conversation with. So either way, we want to be able to get this information into our CRM.
Yeah.
Right. And carry it into our CRM. Once we unlock the information, I've got you the Teams share bar at the top, and it's blocked in my view.
Yeah.
So you would look at something like this. I'm just going through these tabs because I already had some of this brought up. This is a different website. but
Okay. This score
bring
is
it
much
up.
better than mine.
a lot of the things are around typo squatting. We were going to say, hey, there's some risk of typo squatting here, or there's some risk of security headers on your website, or there's some risk of there's a DMARC policy that's a quarantine policy.
Yeah.
But you might want to have that as a different type of policy. And they're able to download their report, which has your branding on it, has your information that you've provisioned in the tool. And so that is for entry level scanning, right? So once we've done this entry level scanning, we
could do this on the webinar, this piece.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Once you
having to be in their office and having to download a client on their internal network.
None of that. We're not touching. We are touching things like have I been pawned, and their website, and their DNS records, and their email records, their MX demarked, SSL, TLS, etc.
Okay, cool. So this is almost like step one. Do this in the webinar. Get some interaction from the audience. Run some of these in the webinar, and then follow up with, I guess, the step two, which would be coming on site to do a more detailed analysis.
That's exactly right. So you would say, hey, I want to, obviously we're finding problems here, Scott, right? We know that we have some problems, and I know that you're interested in working with me. We might be able to come to an understanding. Why don't I come onto your site and we will do a full risk assessment for you? Does that sound fair? I'll do that completely free and no obligation.
Okay. Yeah, I love the sound of that. And that obviously gets the sales meeting in the diary, that intro meeting, which is what it's all about.
And so once you do that, we've got this tool here, which is our Squeak Onsite scanner. Okay. And this tool here runs on your laptop as an MSP. It's on your laptop, not on the customer's device.
Oh, cool.
And you're going to plug your laptop into their switch. And we've got a handy dandy scan wizard, and you're gonna go through things like, okay, what's the scan type that you want to do? I want to do a network scan, and I want to do an Active Directory scan, and I want to do a PII scan, and I want to do a 365 scan. So you're gonna start putting some things together. In this case, I just do it simple because I'm on this laptop.
Okay.
So I'm just gonna do a local host scan. I'm just gonna say a local host. I'm gonna hit next. I can skip credentials. I'm already logged into the device. And then I start my scan. In this case, I have to click some things here to say, hey, I accept this, that we're going to do these things. We're going to start the scan. And essentially what we do is we run the scan. And in this case, the scan's already started or already run. And you've got all of this logging output here. And if you brought it into some code, what you would see is something like this. And it's a JSON file. So a lot of your people are familiar with JSON. So we can see, okay, we did an internet speed test. Here's my information on this device. I've got my disk drives. I've got local users. I've got all sorts of things. Local groups. I've got how many lines of information? I've got thousands and thousands of lines.
I know where this JSON file is about to go.
So once I take this JSON file, this is the unencrypted version. We are encrypted at rest and in motion, but I just want to show you this unencrypted version of it. So once we do that, we're going to upload it into let me go to the right tab here. I'm sorry. We're going to upload it into our tool, and we can upload it right from the tool itself up here in scan, upload to website, upload it directly. And once we've done that and we've got it uploaded, it's going to appear as a scan. So now, and you'll notice that the scans are all encrypted. They all end in E and C. Each one of these scans is encrypted.
Okay.
And if you were wanting to go to the next step of preparing a report, you could go to, okay, I've run this internal risk scan now. I'm going to select that, and I'm going to choose, okay, I want an executive summary. That's a done for you report. I want a detailed report, another done for you report. Maybe I want to make a custom layout. Now this is where where a lot of tools, I think, really fall down because they don't have the ability to necessarily, if they're packaged or canned, you get this canned report and it only shows the things that vendor thinks are relevant.
Like a template. Yeah.
But sometimes you as an MSP know your customer the best and you know what they care about. And they don't care about disk space. And they don't care necessarily about how many computers are protected by antivirus or not, even though they should.
Okay.
So the ability to create a report in a report builder, bar charts or line charts or donuts, or pulling out specific types of findings into a custom report is incredibly powerful.
Okay. Yeah.
So this is from the custom report builder to the canned templates that we also have, a very flexible tool.
Can you give me an example? Like you mentioned there, the technical detail, and translating that technical detail into simple language for the prospect or customer. Can you show me what that looks like?
Yeah, let me see here if I can move this back to take a step back. And let's see here, what would be a good one to look at? Trying to figure out which one would be a really great one to look at. How about that one? So we'll go here, or here. And so let's say that we just wanted to do a really quick executive summary. So we're building the report and it's an executive summary report. So it's going to be about 15 pages. We keep it pretty tight to 8 to 15 pages, depending on the amount of data. And hopefully okay, there we go. Your logo would obviously not be this logo, but since this is on my tenant, this is my logo. And you'll see it's prepared for, and then you're able to start going down and you can get this red, yellow, green kind of stoplight mentality, total cost calculator. This is your risk across these findings that we're going to talk about. And then we're going to talk about, okay, non-expiring passwords. And we might talk about, you've got some security risk, or you've got some issues with having a whole bunch of administrators. Or
how does how the tool know how many domain administrators if it's just in a network scan?
So when we look at this, when we look at the types of scans that we can do, let's say that you're running a scan on a site that doesn't have a domain controller, but they are controlled via Azure Active Directory off of 365. We can scan that. Right. So we can scan 365 and we can know exactly what their cloud environment looks like. Or we can scan Active Directory and we can know exactly what that is. And even if we don't scan Active Directory and we just do a network scan, we're still picking up on the LDAP if there's an Active Directory controller there. And if there's not, the reports are coded in such a way that they just drop that data. So you never even see that page render.
I see. It was just like, I'm just trying to understand how your tool knows that there's 4 domain administrators on that.
So in this case, we know because we scanned the Active Directory. The Active Directory.
So you're logged in as someone, and then you're running the scan.
Yeah, so we require on the on-site scan. So a good example would be if we bring up the scan wizard, right, and we go to a Active Directory scan, we're going to ask for domain credentials because otherwise we wouldn't be able to read it.
That makes sense now. I wasn't fully understanding. That makes sense now. So we would need the admin credentials. Okay, cool. Yeah. All right. Sorry to interrupt there, Steve. As I say, I asked them questions. So that was just like one that kind of stood out to me there.
No, not at all. I love the questions, man. Keep them coming.
Yeah. I mean, the other one was on the report there. You've got that cost calculator with the number. How's that calculated? What is that number?
So that's actually something I'm proud of because we have the ability within our admin panel here to assign thresholds. Sometimes, and this is something I've heard from my insurance friends that are in the industry, sometimes you have this concept of it's going to be $300 per exposed record, or it's going to be $200 per exposed record, or this risk is going to cost this much to remediate. And I've heard that. I'm sure you've heard that. I'm sure the people watching this have heard that. But the challenge is that's not always the case based on jurisdiction. In the UK, it might be that it's 150 to remediate. But in New York City, USA, it could be that it's 500 to remediate. So we are able to define these kind of thresholds that say, okay, is something healthy or is something unhealthy or is something critical? And within those thresholds, we can assign dollar amounts for the risk.
I see. Okay.
So we can say, okay, based on where my MSP is, if this were truly critical, it would cost this much.
Okay.
And then I can build that. The application will automatically take that data and build it into the report for you.
Correct. That makes perfect sense. And it's cool that it's got that customization for almost like that. Yeah, that risk calculation. What's coming? I didn't see there that there's obviously you have that M365 scan. That's a new feature. Is it? What else have you got in the pipeline for Pipsqueak?
So we do have a full development cluster. One of the things that we want to do, or a full development roadmap, one of the things that we really want to do is to tie this into some of the other products that we're working on right now that haven't been released yet, but are right around the corner. As a special announcement for your guests, I'll mention that we're coming out with a full-blown glue level documentation tool. We call it Stash IT Documentation.
Okay.
And what we want to do is we want to take this tool and we want to do an integration with Stash so that this tool can be a scanning and reporting layer. So we can do QBRs out of this tool. We can do sales out of this tool, and we can do pre-sales out of this tool that you're seeing here.
Uh-huh.
And then we can also take that data once we've landed the client operationally and land that data into an IT documentation portal that integrates with your RMM, that integrates with your backup, that integrates with your security to pull all the data into one place so that all of a sudden I have a trusted source of information. That's one of the major things. Another thing that we've got on the roadmap, two things that are actually in flight right now. The first is what we are calling headless scanning. So you see the UI. I've shown you the UI for the scan tool. What we want to do is we want to make this a much lighter application that can be put on a customer premise piece of the device, put it out at the client site, and let it run scans on a scheduled basis.
Yeah, like an agent.
Suck that data in so that we can have real-time telemetry. Yep. And then the other thing that we're going to be introducing here shortly to the tool that's currently in flight is network monitoring or network mapping. If you're familiar with InMap and what it does with network mapping, we're going to be introducing that to the tool as well, so that we can go a step further than just the endpoint detection and Active Directory and 365, and we can go to routers and switches and IoT devices and things like that.
It's quite a big roadmap then, Steve. Okay, that's cool. So where does my audience get started with this? I'm helping with the webinars. They're doing them on a regular basis. It sounds to me as if they've not got something like rapid fire tools and they're looking for a far more cost-effective option. Pipsqueak might be able to help them there. Where do they go to get like the free version? You mentioned there's a free version, a community version, and a pro. What's the domain?
So you go to pipsqueaknetscan.com, and I'll put that in the chat for you. It's going to be pipsqueaknetscan.com. And we have it right there. Download your free community edition or upgrade to pro. And the way that our pipeline works is that we require the free community edition to be downloaded, and then you unlock to pro. We don't really have a path for you to go directly to pro. And the reason why is because I cannot tell you in the time that I've been in business, in the 20 years that I've been in 18, but in the time that I've personally been in business, and I've directly hopped into a tool, and then I've later regretted it because I didn't do a proper look over the tool.
Yeah.
You download the free version and then you upgrade into paid if you want to do that. We don't have a direct paid path.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, I kind of like that. And that's why I do these demos as well. So it means I just have to download the tool, but excellent. No, that makes sense. Hey, Steve, we'll leave it there. I know everyone's time is extremely valuable. So thank you for
Absolutely.
being on the show today. We'll get this recording out as soon as possible. And then I'll put the link to Pip Squeak in the notes below this video. Thanks very much.
Scott, I really appreciate the time for you and your audience. Thank you very much.